States Army presents The Big Picture, an official report produced for the armed forces and the American people.
Hi, Stu.
Good to see you, Robbie. I've been expecting you. As a matter of fact, I've been reading about your transfer in this article.
Yes, I saw it.
Sit down, Robbie.
I understand you're to give me my first briefing on the new job.
That's about right. But I think I'll let the big picture tell its own story. As you know, of course, the series is produced for the armed forces and the American people, and is brought to them on television in the public's interest.
Military and civilians? That's a mighty big order.
It is. We estimate our weekly audience in the millions. Right now, we have over 300 television stations in the United States, plus those stations of the Armed Forces Television Network that program the series overseas.
Not only an impressive job of programming, but it must call for real imagination and creativity as well.
It does. I've assembled a few excerpts from the more than 300 episodes we've made. You'll see for yourself the wide range of subjects we cover. If you have the time, we'll begin now.
That suits me fine.
Okay, I'll ask the projectionist to start the film. Roll it, please. These excerpts that we're running have merely been spliced together. I'll explain the changeovers when they come up. This is one of the first that we did. It was the story of those early weeks in the Korean War.
And then swung to us. A great force reached Korea in a new strategy that gave the North Korean army a battle from three sides at once. Replacements, new units, lively, ready for business. They stole along the hills, slipped up the ridges, looking for a soft spot in the enemy's hard shell. We gave it to them steady, all up and down the line, all at once. The air dusty, smoky. This was what we used to get when we first hit Korea. Victory never comes easily. You have to be in a fight to see how tough it is. See how in an attack, guys stumble back, needing others to look after them. Always plenty of trouble.
That's well done, Stu, and historically important.
Big picture audiences thought so, too. Now, the next film that we've selected is a little bit different in type to show the wide range of subjects that we try to cover. It's a film we made about Walter Reed Army Hospital. It brought home the Army's role in medical research, as well as its care for its military personnel.
Of all its great work in medicine, Walter Reed Army Medical Center is perhaps better known for its amputee patients. The hospital buildings are linked by special ramps to aid all types of wheelchair patients. The center theater even has its own wheelchair entrance. Everything possible is done to make the full facilities of the center easily available to its sick. The center is a world leader in fundamental research of prosthetic or artificial limb. In the limb shop, the finest prosthetic appliances are designed. The old shoulder strap method of operating artificial limbs has now been replaced by a new surgical procedure named synaplasty. After a special operation and months of reconditioning, Private Thornhill at last arrived at the day when he too got his new hand. He no longer had to watch his buddies.
The next one is called All-American. It shows the kind of preparation and training that is necessary to keep our Army strong and ready. It reminded viewers that preparedness is an everyday up-to-the-minute effort.
Over here at Lawson Air Force Base, men are waiting for the big test, an actual jump from a plane. They've never jumped from an airplane before, and one of them has never been inside a plane. Equipment is checked carefully before the takeoff. Each man wears a reserve chute for emergency use.
Equipment check. 16 okay. 15 okay. 14 okay. 13 okay. 12 okay. 11 okay. 10 okay. 9 okay. 8 okay. 7 okay. 6 okay. 5 okay. 4 okay. 3 okay. 1 okay.
To get his wings, a student parachutist is required to make 5 jumps. They bail out from 1,000 feet up. Students are coached all the way down by instructors.
Look around. Stay away from your fellow jump. Keep your eyes off the ground. You remain at ease during descent. Jumpers in the air. Prepare to land. Reach well up on all 4 rides. Feet and knees together. Knees slightly bent. Make a good parachute landing fall. Jumpers who have just landed, collapse your canopies. Jumpers who have just landed, collapse your canopy.
Let's join these men now and find out how they enjoyed the jump.
I don't see why I haven't been doing it before now.
It's a real thrill, I'll tell you that.
I'll tell you what, the best thrill I had when I got my opening shock and saw that old umbrella sitting up over me.
Well, the old ground will spin around for me. I have a sore neck to prove it, but other than that, boy, I'm in fine shape.
I've also included an excerpt from Operation Blue Jay, a Motion Picture Academy Award-winning film. It's a pictorial report of a great Army accomplishment.
Blue Jay. I remember it. That was the round-the-clock push that built an air base in the Arctic.
In a matter of hours, the frigid waters of Thule Harbor were transformed into a great port, crowded with Navy landing craft transferring cargo from ship to shore in a steady, unceasing rhythm of unloading. Unloading went on through rain squalls and wind. Over 153,000 long tons of cargo were eventually delivered on the beach. Work crews, 4,000 strong, were ferried to land from their temporary homes aboard 5 personnel carriers. They operated in 2 shifts, 60% in the first or day shift, 40% in the second shift. As the heavy earth-moving equipment lumbered off the LSTs, men and machines went right to work. In bad weather as well as good, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Dirt flew in all directions as quarries were mined with high explosives. Then dug for rock and earth fill needed at the construction sites for airstrip, roads, fuel tanks, hangars, barracks, and other buildings. First objective was the giant airstrip with its main runway, aprons, and taxiways. To level it off along all its tremendous length, it had to be cut down in some areas. and build up in others, sometimes as much as 40 feet.
I'd call that documentary reporting at its best. The photography is spectacular.
Speaking of camera work, the next film, which was made some time ago, demonstrates the possibilities of television in combat.
Based upon the information obtained by the use of airborne television reconnaissance, friendly troops are ordered into the area to meet the aggressor. Along with them goes the second half of the Signal Corps' interim tactical television team, the combat television cameramen. These cameramen are equipped with handheld, lightweight television cameras, ideal for following the infantrymen right into the thick of battle. Here again, television supplies an instantaneous picture of the battle situation to troop commanders behind the line. From the camera, the picture is relayed to a control vehicle, which guides the cameraman by radio, monitors and controls the picture, and relays it up to distances of 10 miles to the receiver station located near command headquarters. Here, the frontline pictures are transmitted to troop commanders who formerly had to depend upon slower and less accurate means of obtaining battlefield reports. This maneuver indicated that tactical television might well become a valuable addition to the combat team, serving to protect the lives of our fighting men by supplying accurate and instantaneous information of battle situations to the officers responsible for making decisions of life or death, decisions that mean the difference between victory and defeat.
Films like that make you stop and think. Just consider the range of subjects and technical skills the Army expects of today's soldier.
Right you are. And the next film emphasizes that very thought. Tularosa Frontier, a recent documentary that focuses on the highly specialized training and testing that is being done at the Army's White Sands Missile Range.
Here, America's newest weapons have been tested. This is the Army's Corporal, the nation's first operational surface-to-surface guided missile. The Army's Honest John, supersonic artillery rocket capable of carrying an atomic punch. The Army's Nike-Ajax, first watchdog of the skies over the nation's cities. The Army's Nike-Hercules, powerful ground-to-air successor to the Ajax. The Army's Hawk, that strikes with pinpoint accuracy. The Army's Little John, light, lethal, and highly mobile field artillery missile. The Army's Lacrosse, a deadly accurate weapon designed to deliver tremendous firepower in support of ground troops. The Army's Sergeant, a surface-to-surface missile that can provide long-range atomic punch for field units. The Army's Nike Zeus, deadly anti-missile missile, being developed to destroy aggressor long-range missiles. Today, the towering peaks of the Tularosa stand sentinels over a frontier far different from those that have marked the past history of the Great Basin.
Here's one we're very proud of. The Battle of San Pietro, filmed during World War II. The distinguished Hollywood director, John Huston, then a major in the Signal Corps, wrote and directed this picture. You'll hear his voice on the soundtrack.
3rd Battalion was committed. The advance never got more than 600 yards past the line of departure. The attack on Hill 1205, however, was a brilliant success. Leading elements of the 1st Battalion had gained the summit of the objective before a strongly entrenched enemy knew that an assault was in progress. To the right of 1205, the 3rd Ranger Battalion had also captured its objective, but only after successive attacks and costly casualties. For on 950, the enemy was not taken unaware. Counterattacks were to be expected on both 1205 and 950. They were not long developing. First was launched during the early daylight hours, and even as it was beaten off, another took form. Day and night they followed in unremitting violence. But German prisoners captured on 1205 and 950 said they had been ordered to retake those positions at all cost.
Stu, that's one of the great combat documentaries of World War II.
It certainly was. Now I want you to see a film that we made a few years ago when the floods hit the eastern states. It's an impressive record of the Army's role in disaster relief. We called it Operation Noah.
You will remember Broadhead Creek near Stroudsburg in Pennsylvania. On this stark and empty plain stood the 14 rustic cabins of Camp Davis, where 37 persons were swept to death in the watery avalanche, many of them women, most of them children. The State National Guard and Army units promptly mobilized to guard, direct, and comfort. Channel clearance, one of the first objectives of the Corps of Engineers. If another downpour came, the streams would not be blocked and dammed with debris. At bridge crossings, the rubble of the old made way for the launching of the new. Engineer units, state employees, and civilian crews hired by the Army's Corps of Engineers erected more than 100 Bailey bridges to connect up highways and streets, and thus end the isolation of scores of cities and towns. The Bailey Bridge is like a king-size director set. A well-trained crew can assemble and launch one across a 100-foot stream in 2 1/4 hours, and it will carry from 28 tons to 60 tons, depending upon its type. Thousands of them were erected in wartime by crack combat engineer teams to span the Rhine, the Volturno, the Rapido, and the steep gullies of Korea. As fast as a Bailey was completed, supply and work vehicles of reconstruction moved across. Throughout the emergency, Signal Corps mobile units maintained communications, transmitting reports and orders for food, equipment, and medicines. And the Army Medical Service was on constant call.
Sometimes big picture coverage is used for actual training. And this is important, as it gives double impact and importance to the film. That was the case in this next film called The Patrol. It was very effective in teaching reconnaissance techniques.
Finally, here it is, the main reason for making the long and difficult journey. The aggressor is building up a heavy concentration of missiles in a wooded area which defies aerial detection. Friendly intelligence knew these missiles were in the area. Now they can be pinpointed exactly. Under the ground rules of the maneuver, if the aggressor can get his missiles within striking distance and keep them there for a prescribed time, he will claim credit for a successful missile strike. If friendly forces move against him before he is into firing position, his missile attack will be judged a failure. The patrol must get an accurate fix on the missile park's location and as much information as possible about the kind and quantity of missiles being employed. Clues as to how long this buildup has been going on and how much longer it seems likely to take are also good military intelligence. The patrol